Welcome to Furious Fiction. I'm Jules Graham, and with me is Mark Mustion. And today, one of my personal favourites is
Murray Hartin, Muzz from Australia,
everyone,
all the way from Sydney.
Yeah, everyone has a nickname. Can we call you Muzz?
Yes, Jules, you know you can.
Okay, good. Let's start off with who are you? You're a bush poet. What is a bush poet?
Tell us what is. I was asking Jules, what is bush poetry?
Well, I suppose the equivalent in America would be cowboy poetry. They have big events in Elko, Nevada and around America. And the bush poetry, the bush in Australia means the country. If you go out to the bush, you go out to rural Australia. And bush poetry, I suppose the genre was really forged back in the late 1800s, early 1900s with two of our most famous bush poets being Banjo Patterson and Henry Lawson. Who the names won't mean anything over there, but they're big names in Australia, as Jules will attest to.
Yeah, the Man from Snowy River.
Yeah, which was a big Australian movie, and I suppose I don't know the equivalent. Only equivalent I would find in the world would be a bloke called Robert Service from Canada, who all his stuff was about the Yukon and gold mining and that sort of stuff, and it's just a traditional style of rhyming poetry, which has sort of had a renaissance, for want of a better word, back in the late 80s here in Australia. And
you're a great storyteller, Muzz. You're a great storyteller. And most of your stuff is satirical, but then you come out with this amazingly powerful poem, Rain from Nowhere. How long was the drought in Australia? Because it affected so many of the farmers, which made you write this poem. How long was the drought? Was it a decade long?
Well, it was in areas. It was, Jules. Yes, and I suppose I wrote that in 2007, which I think by about 2008 we got some rain, and then we got too much rain.
Yeah,
the life of the farmer is a pretty tough gig, and yeah, look, I'd been contacted by a Scottish mate of mine who lived in Australia, who was working with what we call the Salvation Army, a big charity organisation, and they were looking at the issue of depression in the bush and also suicide with farmers. Because it was just a tough thing there's a sense of failure involved in these blokes, and it's way beyond their control. It's the weather that dictates to them, no matter how good they are. And I woke up one morning with a line or two in my head, and I sat down and Rain from Nowhere came out in about 2.5 to 3 hours. I think the good ones just flow out.
Well, Muzz, I wanted to ask you, there seems to be a lot of humor in what you do. There's something about you perform with another group called the Four Funny Buggers or something like that. It's just, it seems almost like stand-up. I mean, do you feel pressure when you go out? You not just to entertain people, you got to make them laugh?
I think Mark's trying to say the Naked Poets, not the Four Funny Buggers.
No, he's right, Jules. You did.
Oh, no.
Need to correct.
Sorry.
We were 13 years as the Naked Poets, and that was probably where we forged our name. But we've had a few incarnations since the Naked Poets, and we had the Naked Truth. And then this year, Jules, if you were current, you'd know that we performed as the Four Funny Buggers with Alan Glover, Mark Agliori, and a wonderful entertainer called Brad McLean. But Mark, it's not as tough as stand-up, because it's the poems are a bit like songs. They suffer if they're written well. They suffer retelling a lot better than jokes do. You're not walking out to an audience that's saying, "Come on, mate, make me laugh." They're generally a bit more receptive than that, and so there's not the pressure of stand-up. I've worked in a stand-up environment. I think it's a lot more, I don't know, tense. But with our stuff, look, it's just fun. And once you get your first laugh or first reaction, you've opened up that sort of contract between you and the audience that you're going to entertain them, and they're going to respond if you're good enough.
Well, Muzz, good luck with whatever's next. Still, one of my favourites is Turbulence. Yes. The cowboy on the plane is saying, "Buck, you bastard, Buck." I love that poem. Good luck. Thanks for being with us on Furious Fiction.
Thanks for having me.